really want to react on this video, folks, because we are at a crossroad. It's an example of a period where African countries must push back. The country of Kenya must push back, South Africa must push back, and more importantly, Egypt and a lot of countries, including Ghana. Ghana said the United States of America has embraced unilateralism and abandon multilateralism. The country of Kenya have said they will engage the country of China irrespective of what the United States of America thinks. More importantly, Egypt will continue to challenge the United States of America from a whole lot of other perspectives. And more importantly, the brim of all, South Africa has been singled out in terms of its international collaboration and partnerships, and is paying the price regards to the tariff at the moment. So in this episode, I have an important video to play from a South African journalist who pinpointed some areas which I agree into some, but most I do not agree.
I need for you to listen. You have the general of our army, South Africa's army, going to Iran at this critical geopolitical moment when South Africa, via DTI and Pakistan, is presenting a trade deal to rescue our economy, to ensure that we don't suffer adversely from the tariffs, to create some sort of protective mechanism around the vulnerable industries. And I don't care who you're listening to, searching for alternative markets in Asia, in Europe, that's fine. We ought to continue doing that. But the US market is also important. Accessing US markets is also important. So in this week, where there is tension and where we've been hit by 30% tariffs 2 weeks ago, and where you have a chance of mitigating those adverse effects, you have the general of the army of South Africa going to Iran to strengthen diplomatic and historic ties.
Thank you for joining us again and welcome back to our channel. If you are joining for the first time, we always appreciate your time, folks. It is important at this time for the countries across the continent of Africa to select partners that will, to an extent, meet their own particular geostrategic fundamentals. It doesn't matter where the country is coming from at this time, because the global North partners are projecting some kind of approach that doesn't sit well across the continent of Africa. African nations are open for partnership, workable relationship that enables them to achieve their own basic needs. However, if particular countries across the continent of Africa are coming to tremendous pressure, whether it's from tariff or from their association with particular countries across the continent of Africa, then so be it with regards to this relationship, which is unforgiving at this time. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because I have an important video to play from a very good journalist from the country of South Africa, who expressed her concern and frustration why the country of South Africa's defense official should visit the country of Iran at this particular time. This is the question I've been talking about across the continent of Africa. Why the continent of Africa must make choices that are relevant in its own survival. In this case, the country of the United States of America has placed South Africa as a central role in its foreign policy, whether it's in tariffs or pushing them back and forth with regards to their relationship with the country of China and Russia. More importantly, the AGOA trade, as South Africa is paying the price as a result of its own basic understanding with the global challenges coming, whether it's from Israel or from the Palestinian issue, and a lot all around the world. So South Africa will not be placed in a box as a result of this particular partnership that is not serving them well this time. It doesn't mean that South Africans should not look for alternative, but again, if the journalist is so concerned about why South Africa should not alienate the United States of America, should pamper the US, should listen to them, everything they do as a result of jobs and also creating opportunities, make no mistake, there is challenges in the country of South Africa. But again, for a minister to visit the country of Iran at this time, I think it's important for the country to flex its muscle, to speak with other countries. If that particular journey and if that particular trip will become the center stage on why South Africa is going against the rules of the United States of America, so be it. I think so. It means that partnership is not genuine and it's not of the South Africans' own national interest and the citizens' own interest. Then it is the time for them to start looking for new partners that can meet their needs. Not every partner is going to meet their needs at this particular time, but I think this video are a number of things that I do not agree with in terms of the geostrategic point of view. Let's play this clip.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the Readiness Report with the Daily Marverick. I'm delighted to be with you. I'm a bit flustered, to be honest. Just a moment ago, a statement dropped from DIRCO, the Department of, I can't even say it, International Relations and Cooperation. It is a clarification over a visit to Iran by the general of the SANDF. I need for you to listen. You have the general of our army, South Africa's army, going to Iran at this critical geopolitical moment when South Africa, via DTI and Pakistan, is presenting a trade deal to rescue our economy, to ensure that we don't suffer adversely from the tariffs, to create some sort of protective mechanism around the vulnerable industries. And I don't care who you're listening to, searching for alternative markets in Asia, in Europe, that's fine. We ought to continue doing that. But the US market is also important. Accessing US markets is also important. So in this week, where there is tension and where we've been hit by 30% tariffs 2 weeks ago, and where you have a chance of mitigating those adverse effects, you have the general of the army of South Africa going to Iran to strengthen diplomatic and historic ties. And he apparently made anti-US sentiments as well. What do you think is going to happen once South Africa's detractors in Washington get wind of this? They have already. And I've spoken to some DIRCO officials. Their phones are ringing off the hook with the media wanting a reaction. Now, this is the reaction from the South African government via DIRCO. And I read, it landed literally a minute before we pressed record on this conversation.
Listen, folks, South Africa has experienced tremendous difficulties, whether it goes back to the Simon Town, the accusation on its collaboration in sending weapons to the country of Russia, and more importantly, South Africa's role of BRICS and the current leader, Mr. Donald Trump, accusing South Africa of doing some bad things, and more importantly, looking at why South Africa, looking at the G20 and how the current Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, never cared about attending that the country of South Africa. So this message comes over and over. First of all, they had incredible tariffs, and now they are ending up with the current percentage that we have. So the United States of America singling out South Africa is an indication of the country, despite towing the line, they do have sovereignty as well to protect to an extent. By the journalists saying some of these things which have some genuine concern, but again, I do not agree with it, and South Africa should stand its grounds in a number of areas. Let's play this clip.
The Department of International Relations has taken note of recent media reports concerning comments attributed to South African National Defence Force General Rodi Maphanya. It is crucial to clarify that the implementation of South Africa's foreign policy is a function of the presidency supported by DIRCO. Consequently, any statements made by an individual or department other than those responsible for foreign policy should not be misinterpreted as the official position of the South African government. Oh, my word. In response to this matter, Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Mr. Ronald Lamola, will be seeking further clarification. Oh, I could slit my wrists. What an own goal. What an eye-poking mechanism by South Africa's Defence Force. But DIRCO's statement, guys, also reveals a perennial problem in foreign policy, in how government functions. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. Is DIRCO saying the general, the chief of the army, just went to Iran without permission from the president, without knowledge by DIRCO, by DTI, in this week when trade relations are fraught? And for Maphanya, I hope I'm saying it correct, Maphanya, General Rodi Maphanya, to go there to strengthen ties, and that's not the mandate of the SANDF. You are the army. What are you doing in diplomacy and foreign policy? What are you doing? And what does it say about the executive, about the state of South Africa, that such a critical trip can happen without their knowledge in the week that you're trying to get the United States to be reasonable? Let me tell you what the statement says about this visit, that we are anti-colonial allies with Iran. South Africa deepens ties with Iran amid strained US relations. And that he went there to discuss shared anti-colonial and justice-driven goals. Oh, somebody stop. I'm nauseous. I'm going to puke.
South Africa is a central nation in the country of the continent of Africa from the geostrategic point of view. If you can silence South Africa, then you're able to push small countries like Zambia, Malawi, and the rest. But again, make no mistake, South Africa, an important member of BRICS, very close to the global South countries and making some international policy headlines in a number of areas. Whether it's in the Russian-Ukrainian war, as South Africa led the delegation to the country of Russia and Ukraine, that mission was termed a begging mission. Again, South Africa's relationship not just with Mr. Donald Trump, but alongside former President Mr. Joe Biden was a chaotic relationship. And this is not going to end anytime soon. With this particular communication from the journalists, which have some concerns, I would say, I do agree with some points, but not everything that I will accept at this stage of South Africa's own history. South Africa should not cave. They should be engaging the United States, but that the minister should not visit Iran at this particular time where countries are flexing their muscles to look for new alternative in several areas. I think that's a fundamental mistake. Let's play this clip.
Flex. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We say we will not be bullied by the United States. How do you demonstrate that you will not be bullied? By going to the United States enemies and misrepresenting things. Social justice in Iran, come on. Come on. You don't have to sanitize enemies of the United States just because the United States is putting you under pressure. Social justice in Iran. Do you think if I were in Iran, I'd be sitting here talking to you like this? Do you think I could criticize President Cyril Raamaphosa and say he's not showing leadership? Do you think I could criticize Durko, the army general? There's no social justice. Gay people get killed in Iran. Women get killed and arrested for not dressing appropriately. Don't talk nonsense. There's no shared heritage of social justice. We've got nothing in common with Iran. Okay, countries of the global south, we don't want to be bullied by the United States. We're all going to be members of BRICS. But the fact of the matter is that when it comes to constitutionalism, free media, free everything, we don't have anything in common. And when it comes to trade interests, that's something South Africa misses. What are your strategic interests? What are your strategic goals? Just telling the United States you can't bully us, and then the economy suffers because you've done something stupid. You can maintain your sovereignty without adopting or claiming deeper ties with people that you should not be seen with.
Africa is at a crossroad at the moment. Some global North partners like the United States of America have decided to abandon multilateralism and go to unilateralism. So this doesn't sit well with the continent of Africa. Like I've said, the Ghanaian leader came out recently and said that it is not going to be business as usual. One country comes up and lambasts tariff to a whole lot of countries across the continent of Africa. This doesn't sit well in the entire spectrum of global collaboration. We've seen the country of Kenya has come under tremendous pressure. We've seen a number of countries across the region, Egypt, being pushed back and forth. So for the South African defense official to visit the country of Iran by associating with the country of Iran and working together from the collaboration part of view, which is very normal with countries today in the global economy of integration and collaboration and partnership. If you find it very concerning, I find this very concerning as well. Let's play this clip.
And I'm not in any way saying South Africa should not be seen with Iran. I'm saying timing. And you don't do it to flex and show the US the middle finger. Maintain your autonomy. If Trump is being unreasonable, say so. Don't be bullied on the ICJ case. It's a lie that there's a white genocide. But you replace that then with literally just poking the eye, stoking the flames by going to Iran. And even if you went without permission, how are we here? How are we here that any layer of state, any representative of the government in the state of South Africa can be so bold as to hop on a plane and go to Iran without the executive knowing if they didn't know? It's an own goal. It is damaging. It is insane. It is unprofessional. It shows that the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. And any damage control now may be too little too late. Trump is just waiting to go for you. He's irrational. He's transactional. Already there are bills before the House aimed at punishing South Africa for its relationships with what the US calls rogue states that are hostile to the United States. And then our army general goes there to express anti-US sentiment. You're expressing anti-US sentiment as a guest of Iran, the same state that you are being threatened with punishment for having relations with. I just don't understand it. And why we feel the need to always be shouting, this one is our friend, we've got historic ties. They don't do that for us. Do you remember how we did that for Russia repeatedly? And when Trump won and Russia and Putin became buddies, did Putin ever fight our case? Did he say to Trump, lay off South Africa, they are our friend? Does anyone ever come up when Trump issues executive orders, when there are threats of sanctions, when US lawmakers propose legislation that are punitive? Does anybody from China to India to Russia to Iran, anybody ever stand up to say South Africa is our friend? But we always feel the need, like we are on the playground. You my BFF this week, you my BFF.
Let me know in the comment section what you think in regards to this perspective from the country of South Africa. Why not all South Africans, I think, will agree with this particular point of view, because it goes a long way to indicate and showcase why the United States of America wants to control the country of South Africa's own individual sovereignty and decision making, considering what it has put the country of South Africa so far. Tariffs are important. It will affect jobs in the country of South Africa, no doubt, and a number of things. But to say that the country of South Africa officials can no longer interact or meet with someone else, I think that's unheard of, so to point out. But again, it comes at a time when the African nations should know that you are on your own at this stage, that you have to begin to walk the ropes and move faster to enable your nationals and citizens understand that we can try. But again, some partners have fixated position that they have refused to also become flexible.
What I'm saying is this is grave. You've got a very precarious trade offering that has not been officially accepted yet. You've been knocking at the door of the US. They've been ignoring you. They imposed tariffs anyway. And just as you've got a foot in, this story comes up. DIRCO may say it didn't know about it. That's exactly what they're saying here. So I'm not blaming DIRCO. I'm blaming them for something else. I'm blaming the leadership of President Ramaphosa for allowing a free-for-all. I've written about this before, where you had Fikile Mbalula making foreign policy statements, Gwede Mantashe making foreign policy statements. Anybody and everybody can just speak. The center is not holding. And I said at that time that President Ramaphosa needs to rein in his ministers. There are processes here. Who speaks on foreign policy? Who speaks on trade? Who speaks on the actions of defense? And if an army general feels so emboldened as to do that, without Angie Motshekga, the defense minister, knowing, or DIRCO or the presidency, that reflects a serious, serious problem. No strategy, no coordination, no leadership. And that is something that the president needs to nip in the bud. Well, the horse has bolted, but he has to do something else.
South Africa will continue to face this relationship for the next 4 years until the country makes an important stand in a number of areas, as we've continued to see that there is no relentless aspect from the countries of the United States of America. Leave me a comment. I will be looking forward to meeting you soon in our next episode. Have a good day. Bye-bye.